It's Perp back with another video, and I just got done watching Goosebumps episode 6, season 1, Night of the Living Dummy. And has Disney continued to butcher Goosebumps? Not quite. This episode, I actually have some positive things to say, some mixed things to say, but I will have to say overall, this was a much better episode than the first 5. And I see a lot of cap going on for this series. It's still a poorly written show all the way around. That's just my opinion. But let's get into this episode, because we get a lot of backstory on Harold Biddle and just his kind of upbringing, and just a lot about his grandfather, which when they showed this, because we knew this was going to be the Slappy episode, this pulled from a lot of different things. One, it pulled from magic, and it was a mixture of like Chucky, as far as how they handled Slappy's origin story, where it starts off in like the 20s and 30s or something like that, and Harold's grandfather is this like showman, and he's into like showing magic and whatnot. He goes to this magic store, and he comes across this doll that's kind of calling out to him, and he reads the little card off, similar to, you know, with like Chucky, where he does the Dewey Dembala thing. And then we get another scene later on with Harold, you know, when he comes across the Slappy doll, which was straight up ripped off from like Chucky, because Chucky did this shit like in season 1 with the whole talent show, and you know what I'm saying. So those little things I liked, and I wish they would have just went the anthology route with each one of these episodes, because that right there with the different time period and stuff worked for me. That was really dope. And I also liked, you know, seeing Harold and how he interacted with all the kids' parents and whatnot, that they were all kind of cool with one another until Slappy scares the shit out of one of them. And then one thing leads to the next, where they try to steal the dummy from the house, which leads to Harold's death. Yeah, I would have much rather see this cast over the cast that we got now. They seem far more interesting compared to what we have in the main timeline, because you have Justin Long character, Mr. Brat, kind of breaking all of this down, which Justin Long did a really good job with this. And by the time you get to the end of the episode, it just, the stupidity is just dripping off these like the kids in the presents. That they have this like long pause, and they ask like, "How do you know all this?" And duh, it's just like the same kind of reaction I had with episode 5. Like they just realized like, yo, their parents had something to do with it. No shit. And like I said, I would say out of the 6 episodes, this is by far the least frustrating. Even though there are some frustrating moments, just like, I just wish they would have just went the anthology route, or things like just having this 93 cast, whatever, be our main leads, and, you know, Slappy is terrorizing. And because I like that whole idea where Harold gets his hands on this, because this version of Slappy is on some world destruction type shit, and that's why his grandfather like locked him up behind the wall and stuff like that. I like that he's kind of being influenced by Slappy, which makes sense for why Biddle is doing what he's doing now. Even though the kids said like, yo, it seems like the Biddle kid is messed up, and the parents were just trying to help him, and he doesn't see it that way, which is so interesting to me. And I don't know why they would just kind of like ruin that whole kind of moment. They should have just, I don't know. That whole ending to this was kind of very weird to me. I still don't like the whole CGI burnt victim look and whatnot, where that shit was just really, really bad. But overall, I didn't hate this episode. You know what I'm saying? I wish they would have kind of, oh man, I just wish they would have just stuck with certain things and just went a completely different route with this shit series, because it's still a mess. Because with those first 5 episodes, that's not a really good, strong way to start off your series. And it's going to be very forgettable. This whole series, unfortunately, is going to be very forgettable once it's all said and done. So people can praise it. And I'm not going to sit there and say, if you like this, you are not a Goosebumps fan, because I hate when people do that shit to me with shit that I grew up with, and I clearly know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these things. But yeah, my opinion does not change about the show, even though that this episode was clearly the best one of the bunch. I just wish a lot more of these Goosebumps stories got kind of the same treatment and got the same love and care, because it just seems like they were just kind of thrown together just cause, you know what I'm saying? Why couldn't we get a whole episode with the Haunted Mask, get a whole episode, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's just things that bother me about this series, but I'll say it again, this episode was okay. I want to know your thoughts on it. Till next time, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.